Good evening, everyone, and welcome to This Week from Rockdale. I am your host, Larry Cox, and as always, it's great to have all you joining me tonight. Let me start out by welcoming all you guys that have joined us tonight. Lisa Lancaster, welcome to the show. Cheryl Moulton, welcome to the show. Laura Skelton, welcome to the show. Sean Geller, welcome to the show. Marie Withers, welcome to the show. We've got Bill Campbell. Nice to have you here tonight, Bill. We've got Dan Burks. Dan, great to have you here tonight. We've got Joy Williams. Great to have you. Catherine Lynn, great to have you here tonight. We've got Danielle Munoz from way up north in Minnesota. Danielle, nice to have you here tonight. And we have Laura Wright. Laura, nice to have you here this evening. We've got Jackie Sprague and we've got Corliss Turner. So I'm glad to have all you guys here tonight. I believe my video may be a little lag. I hope my audio is okay. If you guys may can tell, I'm up in West Virginia again. I am going to let you guys know Thursday we had to put my sister in hospice, and yesterday, Saturday, around a little after 1 o'clock, she passed away and went home to be with the Lord. So, myself and her daughters and some of her grandchildren were with her when she passed. We had a lot of family members come in and out. The hospice facility here in Beckley, West Virginia, is a fantastic facility. My younger sister Carol actually works for the hospice, so we were just so glad that the hospice facility they were just there for us, and they were just fantastic. So I just want to thank all those guys for that. And like I was saying, it was it's been a little bit of a battle here for over the last month. A lot of you guys that watch this show normally know that I've made a few trips up here to West Virginia to do that, and we've made some arrangements and everything. And some of the family members are not here. My other sister is in the hospital at Ohio State getting some treatment. She's not going to be released from the hospital till next week. So what we think we're going to do as far as the memorial service is we're going to postpone that, and at some point when my other sister is back here, she's actually going to coordinate a little event. So we're going to come back, and we have a special place we're going to spread my sister's ashes, and then have a nice thing. The family that we're here today, we actually went to a state park here today, and we all had a gathering for a couple hours and just reminisced and had a good time. So I mean, we did that. So it was a very it's been a very it's been a challenging time up here, but I told some people yesterday that death is a part of life, and that when we pass, it's a sad and a rejoiceful time at the very same time, because those of us who are Christians and believe in the Lord, and we believe in an afterlife, we believe that when this physical body leaves this earth, that our spirit is one with the Lord. So we take you know that's something we all take, we rejoice in. So that's what we do. So just thank everybody for your condolences and such. But just to let you know that my sister was at peace with going. She had told us she was, and that when someone's has that peace, and they tell you that they're ready, and you can't argue with it, and you have to go along with their wishes. So that's what I'm going to say about that this evening, and I'm going to move on and talk about a few things. We probably won't have a long show tonight. but I did want to come on here and talk to all you guys because a lot of you have been on this journey with me the last month, and I appreciate every one of you that have, and I deeply appreciate all the nice words. So, but you know what, my sister used to love to hear me talk about politics and get emotional, and she wasn't one that talked much about it, right? But when we would have these heated family discussions, uh, she would just smile and shake her head, and you know what I mean, just be there in the corner. But I'll tell you something, guys. Um, uh, she enjoyed that. She loved watching her Fox News and all that and such. And trust me, in my family, when we talk politics, I get double, triple, and quadruple teamed because I might be the only conservative in the lot. So that's the way it goes with my family. But thanks again, guys. But hey, let's talk a little bit about the wackadoos in Rockdale County. So Rockdale County is just crazy. So we've heard this week that another director level employee will be leaving the employment of Rockdale County. We were informed this week that the chief of staff, Jimmy Cabe, uh, gave about a 5 week notice or so, and he'll be going somewhere else. So that will be 18. Count them, guys. 18 directors or director level employees that we will have seen cycle through the Rockdale County employment, as they call it, talent management. And that's another thing, guys. If I get elected to chairman, one of the first things I'm going to do is ask a motion that day to change that back to human resources. That talent management nonsense makes it sound like we're acting and pretending. If I get elected, there's not going to be any acting and pretense. It's going to be reality, and it's not going to be a bunch of nonsense and make believe. So that's what acting and all that is. It's make believe, and I like movies and I love that, but we shouldn't name a department after make believe. So, but that's the way it goes. But yeah, dude, we've got this guy. He's resigning. He's taking another job somewhere else. But that's 18 people with director level positions that will have served in those positions the last 24 months. Now let's just talk about this in the chat, guys. Somebody, I like that comment right here. I'm going to put that one up, Cheryl Moulton. But um, Cheryl said, falling like a house of cards. Uh, and that's a very interesting statement, guys. But don't y'all find that amazing that we've had this kind of turnaround? And not only that, guys, but this is the same people that a few years ago told us we're going to bring these type of positions into a line, not with just what local counties pay, but they said we're going to bring these kind of positions in line with the private sector, so that we won't have our people poached by the private sector. We're going to pay enough money to stabilize this workforce at that upper level. Guys, it's got nothing but worse since they did this. This has got worse since the county uh, jacked up all these rates. Now let's talk about this. They jacked those salaries up a few years ago. Then these guys have gotten another 17% raise this year. So when all these directors are six-figure salaries now. So we're talking to people that make $100,000 plus a year. So I mean, this is not chump change, guys. So you've got these guys making these salaries, and they're going away. They're quitting. And that's I mean, it's just crazy. Then you've got the chairman of Rockdale County who is having a birthday bash on your tax dollars, and that's exactly what he's doing. Alex has asked for some open records request and done some things about it. I mean, they're not being as responsive as they should be with this kind of thing. And this is not the first year that the chairman has hijacked one of those concert series for his birthday. It's all he did that uh, last year's thing too. And um, let me put Alex's comment up here from because he's exactly right about this. And I was going to say something like this myself. Okay, it's almost like they get a look at the inner workings of the Rockdale County and realize pretty quickly they had better take off their own for their own legal protection, and that's correct. Uh, uh, So my shirt is not a Rockdale County shirt. I have a lot of dog shirts because if anybody of you don't, any of you guys don't really know me, I'm like a dog person. And when I did that show thing about the deputy the other day, and somebody had actually texted me and said, they were going to leave because if all we had anything better to do was talk about dogs, and they were not going to watch the show that night. Well, you don't got to come back because at any time I can talk about dogs because dogs are my favorite people, and I've said that many a time. Dogs are the best people, and and I stay positive. That's what I attempt to do because when dogs can be the most positive individuals that you know. I mean, hey, if a boy can say they're a girl can say they're a boy, and there's no proof to it. My dog Tucker Cox is my son. I tell people that all the time. In today's society, I'm allowed to say that. And if you say anything about it, I think you might get in trouble. Not me. Just saying. That's how it works today. It's a bunch of insanity. I even think that's crazy, but it is what it is. But yeah, my and I have heard that Rockdale County animal shelter is doing better, and I think they're trying to be a no kill shelter and all that, and I do support that. And if I was commissioner, I actually would support that kind of activities for dogs because dogs are some of the best people. That's what I got to say about that. And I did start a write-in thing for my dog Tucker Cox running for state court judge this past year against Richard Reed. And from my count, Tucker Cox did get around 20 votes for state court judge, and that's pretty good number of votes for a 14-pound dog that didn't campaign or put up a sign. So I think he did pretty good running for state court judge as a write-in candidate. So yay Tucker Cox, way to go, boy. But yeah, let's get back and beat on the commissioner a little bit because you got these clowns, and that's right, the Clown College, 901 Main Street is the Clown College. If you guys didn't see this week, the Board of Regents in Georgia actually they did away with a bunch of degree programs this past week that people haven't entered into in several years. So if I'm fortunate enough to be elected chairman of Rockdale County in 2024 and I take office in 25, I will attempt to make sure that the clown degree program goes away in Rockdale County. That's one of my goals. It'll take a couple of years to make sure that nobody applies and we don't have any clowns, so that we can get rid of that program and see if the Board of Regents will abolish that program in Rockdale County. But right now, I don't know if they will. I mean, right now, I think that's a strong program. They have some really good clowns that are attending that college up there in Old Town. But I mean, they actually have two other branches. They have some campuses off the main campus there. They got a campus over at the um, City of Conyers Municipal Building, and they also have a campus over there at the Board of Education office where all those characters are actually doing their getting their degrees in at the clown the other campuses, and they're getting their degrees to be clowns. I think they give them honorary degrees initially because they do so good. I mean, you can't get accepted to that program unless you're almost a full-fledged clown. and they are doing really good with that. I mean, they've got some of the finest clowns I think I've ever seen that come out of those three facilities. That's what I think and what I've seen, and I'm going to do my best to make sure that we shut that clown college down and not have any more clowns coming up there and corrupting that program. So that's what I'm going to try to do with that, guys. But you got this character Oz Nesbitt, and I sent out a flyer to some of you guys today that are out here now, and I've put it on the This Week from Rockdale on the Rockdale Republican Party page, and the I think I put it on the Rockdale voter page, and I sent it to Miss Corliss Turner with the Voices for Rockdale, and it's about the candidate forum or the nonpartisan forum that are a lot of candidates going to be on it. That's going to be held at JP Carr by Kappa Psi, and it's going to be in October, and we'll start promoting that because I was asked to actually participate in that forum so that we could talk about Rockdale County, things going on in Rockdale County, and solutions that we have. And they had invited Chairman Oz Nesbitt, and they felt that it would be a good idea to have someone be on that panel that might have some different ideas than the chairman. And Voices for Rockdale Corliss said that she has already put that flyer up on the next door. And the TPS, Alex, I had actually emailed you a press release from the Kappa Psi Society that they'd actually released to the Citizen and Alice Queen, and I forwarded you that press release too because I know you do press releases out on This Weekend Rockdale. So, but I think it's going to be very interesting when we have this forum over at JP Carr, and we're going to really push for the citizens to go there because I think it's very important that citizens go to these events and they hear from elected officials and community leaders on what we can do to improve our community, and especially about the hot topic issues like they're going to discuss at that meeting. Because, those are the people that make a difference and an impact in the community. Hank Johnson is going to be there. Jonathan Chavez is going to be there. I do see some people have uh, who were going to be there pulled out. I see Senator Anderson is not on the flyer now, and that could have some impact because I was pretty hard on Senator Anderson this past Wednesday on the midweek report when I actually said some facts that the reason we have a public facilities authority and a lot of this tax debt is because of her. You wouldn't have had them additional 2 meals if we didn't have the PFA hadn't passed, and they weren't going to try to issue bonds. But she introduced this legislation. She fought having it put on a ballot so that you and I could vote for it. They passed this thing straight through. Like we said in 2018, the citizens of Rockdale County clearly let their voices be heard, and they voted by 70%. That's 2-1, or 7 out of 10 voters voted no. They did not want a $140 million bond, and they did not want a courthouse built in Old Town. That was 2-1, 7 out of 10 voters. They voted that way. And then this past primary, we had several questions on their Republicans and Democrat Party that were related to the courthouse, and it was very clear that the citizens of Rockdale County do not want to build a new courthouse. We did not ask the question about renovating and adding on to the existing one, but in conversations I've had with people and in what those votes looked like this past May, I think if we would have asked the question, would you prefer to renovate and add on to the existing building? I think you would have had people overwhelmingly vote for that idea because I think that's what they want to do. And I think that's also that's what one of the solutions that the courthouse committee came up with too. Dan Burke says, "So are you saying vote for Melanie Williams?" I am saying vote for Melanie Williams. Yes, because you know what, she can't do any worse than Tanya, and I think she can be guided a little bit by some Republican legislators, and Burt Jones wins the lieutenant governor position. I think he would be a good guide and influence on a new state senator that would be going into there, and why not do that. So let me see here. Well, Larry, can we wear our voices for Rockdale Sheep Church? It's not can. Yes, yeah, I would think you can, because it's supporting your nonpartisan organization, and like I say, and that's what this group is. It's they have a political action committee, and Voices for Rockdale is nonpartisan. You guys don't support any party, but in fact you are a political action uh, uh, entity, but because you work on issues that impact your community, and all issues that impact your community are political. So just because uh, you're a political your organization is involved in political policy, you're not a you're not you don't represent the left or the right or the Green Party or the Tea Party. You guys represent no party. You're actually there to represent the citizens, and citizens need people that represent them. So that's what I think. Nandra, I'm gonna tell you, and I've heard that, and I see that too. But this thing about it, they do not intend on demolishing that building. They intend on renovating that building and continue using it in one fashion or another. So, I mean, I think that's what we've all got to get to the reality of. That building isn't going anywhere. And if it's not this group of county employees, it's another group of county employees. And you can do things to eliminate uh, those problems. It's just spending the money and making it happen. And unfortunately, I think one of the things that our county government is doing right now, they don't want to spend the money to do the right thing for that building right now, because it helps bolster their that you got to move people out because of the ADA and all that stuff and everything. And we've done a lot of research on that, and they're not telling the truth about the American Disabilities Act stuff. Yeah, they are in violation with some things, but uh, they're grandfathered, and nobody's going to make them move out, and that's just the truth of what's going on. Um, Clayton, you ask an interesting question, and the answer to that is yes and no. And I'll explain that if you hold on one moment. So, um, hold on a second. Let me get down here. So Clayton, no, I think I did the wrong one. So Clayton wants to know about can Voices of Rockdale, it's actually Voices for Rockdale, put forth a write-in candidate as an alternate to Doreen. It is past the point that you can do an official write-in candidate. You can do a write-in. Uh, you can do a write-in candidacy right now, but it's not. It's one you'll have to individually do. Um, uh, I think let me correct myself. You can't do a write-in candidacy now that will officially count, because the time period has passed that you can do that, because we're too close to the election. But you can't. You have to uh, like in July officially file, put it in the newspaper and all this to do a write-in candidacy that will count. Any candidate that you would write in now, it will not count. That it will not count toward an individual. So the write-ins, you actually have to file those, put them in the paper, there's a process you have to go through, and that time has passed. So you can't do that. So that's the time has passed for that. So you can't do that any longer. So, but if someone would want to do that next election cycle, you can do that, and you can do what I plan on doing in 2024, and that's running as an independent, and that's collecting signatures prior to a cutoff date that's in July. You actually have 180 days, starting from the first week of January till July the 12th, to collect signatures to get on the ballot. Lisa Lancaster, you can still write somebody in, but the vote won't count. I mean, I know that sounds a little bit, but it won't count. I mean, I write other things in, like Tucker Cox got his 20 votes back in May for judge, and that they didn't really count. Nothing for Tucker Cox came up because you have to actually officially file to be a write-in candidate, post it in the newspaper, and then present that official document where you posted it to the Board of Elections to be able to be what they call a qualified write-in candidate. But there's a date to do that. That date is passed, so you can no longer do that. So, but you can write somebody else in right now. It just won't count. I mean, I know that sounds silly, but that's what the process is. So, no, someone says that when you're in the general election, and it's only two people, one vote. If you're the only person that's on the ballot and you vote for yourself in a general election, you win. So you do not have, you only have the 50 plus scenario is if there are more than two candidates running in a race in the state of Georgia. So because if there are two people running in a race or one person running in a race, then that one vote you win. And like Daniel Munez just said that I voted for Larry Cox for school board in Minnesota. I mean, you can vote for somebody as a write-in, but with the way their different policies are, that the vote actually may not end up counting. But I do that quite often, guys. I mean, I can't bring myself to vote sometimes for any candidate in a race, and this happens unfortunately quite often with me. And I don't talk about it a lot, but we're going to talk about it right now since somebody brought it up. And what I do is I vote for one of my dogs. I'll vote for Molly Lou Cox, or I'll vote for Tucker Cox. Molly and Tucker have got a lot of votes. Molly's 10 years old, and she's got a lot of votes over the last 10 years, and Tucker's only 7, but he's got his fair share also, because sometimes I cannot bring myself to vote for the candidates that are on the ballot. So, and especially when there's one candidate on the ballot, I'm just going to skip that person. And Mickey and Clayton, Mickey Mouse does get a lot of votes. You're right. I've seen that. Jesus Christ gets a lot of votes too. So Jesus Christ, Mickey Mouse, they all get a lot of votes. And Dondra, yeah, she's voted for Scooby Doo before. I mean, these things kind of happen. And Joff Drake says sometimes he'll write in his favorite a cartoon character, Wile E. Coyote, for Rockdale County CEO. I mean, and that's that happens. So yeah, so just to go back with that, for that question about Doreen and the 50% and all that. No, when she votes for herself, or that just one vote when you're only the only candidate, you win. You only have to have one vote. So, but if it's 2-person race in a general election, or if even in a primary, that's the way it works. That's the way it works all the time, So that's just the way it goes, man. I mean, it's strange, but our voting system has its little nuances, and we got to go with it. So, but back to these guys that we've got, in office now and everything that's going on. And I have told people, people have asked me about the Senate race and do I actually think that Tanya Anderson was part of the problem um, with this PFA. At 100% that she was a big issue with this. Her and Trader Brian Strickland. Yeah, they were both key in this because Brian Strickland went and actually rewrote a lot of the legislation, saying that he put safeguards and protections in. I mean, there is no safeguard and protection when they still are going to borrow this money, and if they're successful with starting this project before someone else could get elected and stop it in the first of 25, then if this project is halfway done, it's going to cost much more than $110 million. They're going to come back and say, hey, we need to change this legislation. We can't build this for this. Cost overruns are killing us. The state's not going to, they can't allow a half-built building in a Georgia city. So of course they're going to amend the legislation and let these clowns have additional funds. So yeah, I blame Tanya Anderson and actually Brian Strickland for this legislation because just one vote of a senator to stop it would have stopped it. And both of these senators had pledged that it would not move forward unless it was put on a ballot for the citizen. And I've heard that nonsense from these two so many times about they couldn't support that or this unless it was on the ballot. Well, apparently that's not true. If it's something that they want to push through, then they don't listen, and their own conviction isn't reality when it doesn't match what they want it to match. So I've heard that come from their mouths that they wouldn't do anything unless the citizens got to vote for it when it comes to something like this. But they let us down, people. They betrayed us. We were betrayed. And then Tina Hobbs is not on here tonight, but Tina and I had a conversation, and she shared some emails with me, and she has attempted to reach out to Senator Strickland, who still represents Rockdale County until December 31st, but he has failed to respond back to her. And as far as that goes, he's not even changed his email response that comes to you and says they're in the heat of the legislative session. That email is still coming to you if you send him an email. Not even changed his email notification saying, still it's we're so busy here in the session in the heat of battle kind of nonsense. So, I mean, and she's emailed him several times over several issues. And in her email, she reminds him, you're still my senator until December 31st. And she has got no response back from Senator Strickland. And I think that's a shame. And I have warned the counties that are getting him as their representative that he was a half-assed senator and doesn't do a very good job. He's very non-responsive. And that's just fact, guys. I mean, Tina, you are here. So Tina, if you could just echo Tina that yes, that we and you and I have had this conversation, and that the useless Brian Strickland is not responding back to you. Uh, well, one of them pretends to be conservative, Clayton, and that's even more dangerous when you have one that pretends to be conservative and is not. So that hurts. So yeah, but and Tina is not actually the only person that I know that has reached out, but Tina has reached out multiple times. But what I like about her emails is uh, she says, "You are still my senator, December the 31st," uh, and that's crazy. But yeah, I get disappointed when some of these characters represent us so lackluster representation. And then you have these commissioners who are nothing but clowns. It's ridiculous. And then I shared some water test results with some people that I got because somebody I know has a friend at a water testing company, and they tested his water coming from his spigot, and the results were terrible. Uh, they were terrible. So the drinking water here in Rockdale County, not so good. Not so good, guys. So be cautious. Do some testing. Boil your water before you use it in Rockdale. That's what I recommend. I highly recommend it. So, but I'm going to do a little bit of more investigating on uh, those water results, and see if we can't share some of that with everybody on the show one day. So I think everybody needs to be aware of their drinking water situation, and if it's safe and quality drinking water. Because this is the thing about it. We spend enough money in Rockdale County on drinking water that we should not have an issue um, uh, with drinking water. We have a very we have a we have a very expensive water system here in Rockdale County. A lot of money we spend on it. A lot of money we collect. The county collects for it through fees, and we should have a much better system than we do. And that's just pathetic. So we need to really look at this, pay attention to it, and ask a lot of questions. And I know George Kilichek is working very hard on this water situation right now, and and I thank him for that and what he does for that, because I think we in the near future will have some resolution with that, because the Army Corps of Engineers is coming to Rockdale County to do some testing and do a site visit to our reservoir and see what's going on here with the drinking water in Rockdale County. And from what I understand, the Corps is not happy from what they initially have been told in the initial reporting. So I think it's going to be interesting to see what goes on with this and what the outcome is going to be. But, guys, that's about all I'm going to say tonight. I thank each and every one of you for joining me this evening. We've had a really good audience tonight. A lot of people joined us, and people stay tuned the whole show, and I appreciate that. So I should be back in Georgia by Wednesday. So I will be doing a show from our hometown in Rockdale County, from the seat. I'll be doing it from my Conyers office. So I look forward to being back in Rockdale this week, and I look forward to talking to you guys again, and just thank you guys for being such a great audience. Thank you for watching the show. Like, share the show, guys, so that people can see this. They know what's going on. Danielle, I will drive safe and have a good trip. And I just thank each and every one of you again for all the positive words that you've said to me during this last month or so I've been dealing with the things up here in West Virginia, and my sister, and just thank every one of you for I know you sincerely care about what goes on, and I thank each and every one of you. So good night, and I will see you guys this coming Wednesday on the midweek report.